Okay, so we have our characteristics of living things worksheet. Okay, so there's 8 characteristics of living things for that tell us if it's living or non-living. So he listed them right here for A through H. He gave each characteristic a letter. Okay, so this page is just telling us the characteristics. Okay, now I'm going to slide all the way down to these questions. So I'm going to look at number 1. When a human steps out into the cold air, the body begins to shiver in order to keep its temperature at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I'm going to go back up to my options up here, and I'm going to think, what characteristic is it talking about? Is it talking about all living things contain cells? Is it talking about all living things contain DNA? Is it talking about all living things obtain and use energy? Is it talking about D, all living things reproduce? Or is it talking about E, all living things respond to stimuli? Or F, all living things maintain an internal balance? Or G, all living things grow and develop? Or H, all living things evolve as a population? Now, this is talking about when you go outside and you get and your body responds to the weather. So if your body is responding to the weather, that means it is responding to outside stimuli, meaning you're trying to have homeostasis. Now that option was letter E. So E is, I'm going to scroll back down, and instead of right next to 1, I'm going to write the letter E. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to my next question. An amoeba is a unicellular organism, which means it's a single cell organism. I'm going to go back up to my options here. I'm going to think, which one applies to this question? Well, we're talking about single cell organisms. Well, it has the word cell in there, so it must be A. All living things contain cells. That's why this amoeba is a living organism. Next, green plants produce their own food through the process of photosynthesis. I'm going to come back to my options, and I'm going to think, what does photosynthesis do for this plant? Oh, well, it gives it energy. So that means it has to do with the letter C. All living things obtain and use energy. So this plant must be a living organism because it produces its own energy. All right, let's go back to 4. An adult hydra is producing its offspring through budding. So I'm going to go back through, think, what has to do with having offspring? That means reproduce. So that means the letter D, all living things reproduce. So I'm going to go down to number 4 and put the letter D. Now we have 15 questions, and any of them, okay, you're going to put the letters A through H for any of them. Okay, I hope this was helpful.